Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome to New Life Live. This is Chris Williams, licensed marriage and family therapist. We are so glad that you're with us today, and I am really glad to share the studio with Dr. Jill Hubbard, licensed psychologist. Hey, Jill.
Hey.
I love your outfit today.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Yes, very fall-like. And I have licensed marriage and family therapist, Marc Cameron, relationship expert. Marc,
wow. Hello. What an introduction.
Absolutely, man. Hey, Marc, what's on your mind today?
What's on my mind today? So today I want to talk about the core conflict pattern that every couple has and needs to overcome for the relationship to thrive. So when my wife and I met, we each thought that we'd found our soulmate. We met online. We were about 2 hours apart in distance. So we met up twice a week. We had very fun and exciting dates. And we didn't want to do the long distance dating thing. And so we had this whirlwind romance and engagement. And we got married within 4 months of knowing each other.
Yes.
Wow.
Very, very quickly. You know, one funny thing is when we were dating, my wife said, I don't know what we'd ever argue about. And boy, it was ironic. Right? So, but once we got married, real life set in.
Yes,
and our whirlwind romance turned into two hurricanes colliding when it came to conflict. And when we realized we were more alike than we realized. And sparks were flying, but not in the same way as they were before when we were dating. Right? Both of us were imprinted with a vacillator attachment style. And so neither of us found it easy to wait our turn. We both struggled with feeling deeply disappointed in the other person. We would protest in hopes that the other person could see that we were hurt, but the protest was hurtful and it put the other person at a distance. And so in the end, we just were both left feeling more hurt and misunderstood. And by the grace of God, we made it through 6 years, likely for the sake of our kids. It was really difficult. And then I read the book, How We Love, in my men's group, and that totally opened my eyes to see that we had a core conflict pattern. Now, even though our conflicts were instigated by these different events, the reactivity that was happening was the same, and that repeated. And once we understood the pattern, then we were able to work on overcoming that rather than trying to change the other person through the protesting that we were doing. Now, I see many couples, and I'm sure you guys do too, that arrive in our offices with the same conflicts being resurrected under different circumstances.
Over and over again,
yes.
right? Different context.
Yes, different circumstances, same conflict, right? Because they're both stepping on each other's historical wounds, and each of the spouses, they use their learned defensive strategies, right? Which they learn growing up, but instead of drawing the other person in, it pushes the other person away, right? And so you will either conquer the core conflict pattern, or it will continue to conquer you. And as our good friend Jim Burns says, you will either repeat or you will recover. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
So now we've got our Intimacy and Marriage Weekend coming up next month in Dallas, where we teach couples how to identify their core pattern and overcome it by understanding their attachment styles. And this is the last time we're offering it this year. And so as we understand our attachment styles and we learn the new communication skills through the comfort circle, we will create a new conflict pattern. And we'll still have disagreements, but we'll be far less reactive. So if your marriage is stuck in the same old conflicts, the Intimacy and Marriage Intensive is a powerful weekend you don't want to miss. We got early bird pricing, and don't wait. Don't wait to transform
It's
your
so
marriage.
important, Marc. I cannot overemphasize the transformation that happened in me as a person when I understood my core pattern as a pleaser, and I needed to recover from it. And there's definite things I needed to do to grow in my life to make my marriage, and quite honestly, my ability to relate better with other people. So thank you so much for that. We want to talk to you. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to be in studio for a couple hours. Again, that's 1-800-229-3000. And we're going to be back right after this.
5 years ago, I had been in porn addiction, and I'd had a sexual relationship out of marriage.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity, impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography. Find help today at New Life's Every Man's Battle Intensive.
It was the first time I'd ever divulged the sin that I had.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
I found a confidential comfort that was able to put a flame to a start of a healing process.
Now the intensive is coming to Washington, D.C., September 20th through the 22nd. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
Thank you, New Life. You're the redeemed man. Thank you.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. It's Chris Williams, Dr. Jill Hubbard, Marc Cameron. Again, we are going to be in studio for a couple of programs today. We would love to talk to you. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Again, that's 1-800-229-3000. Whatever you're struggling with, let us help you guide through that challenge today. We're going to go right to the phones. We're going to go to Trish in Redding, California, listening on KFIA. Trish, how's it going today?
I'm better than I deserve.
Well, I love to hear that. But I may want to challenge that because I think you deserve the best. So, Trish, what's going on today?
You. Well, I'm calling because I need help. I have a 54-year-old daughter, and she's been bipolar and has a personality disorder. She was diagnosed at 16. She's just come out of the county psych hospital after 2 weeks. She's been put back on her medication, and we need counseling, I believe, in order to give her some peace of mind. We're getting older, and I just want help in processing all of these issues. She's still just a little bit manic, and so she's very emotional right now, and it's all towards me usually, but I'm not knowing how to journey through that. I need help.
Yes. And I mean, Trish, you've been journeying with this a really long time.
Yeah.
And so you've seen...
She's gone 6 years now that she has not had an episode. I think it was because she went off of her medication, her Haldol. But whatever it was that did this, we thought that she was, going to be fine.
Yeah.
And now she's had this terrible episode, and it's just raised up a lot of issues.
Yes. And so you think the episode is when she went off of her medication, is that correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I wondered about if menopause could be part of it. I don't know. But whatever it was, we could see signs coming on slowly, and then all of a sudden, and I think that she was avoiding her medicine appointments, and it just got too much.
Yes, she wasn't treating her condition. Yeah.
Well, and that often happens, Trish, with bipolar, that they don't always like being on medication, right? And that they actually miss some of the mania, and they feel at times stunted in their emotions. So, or they get lulled into thinking, well, I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. I don't need it. And so they go off of it. And that desire, or that, kind of slipping back into denial and wanting to be normal and not being a person with a biological, genetic, mental illness. And so I'm wondering, though, because medication is absolute for people with bipolar, but they need more than medication. They also need treatment to learn how to live differently and to learn how to live a more stable life. So I'm wondering, what she has done in terms of treatment in addition to the medication.
Not a whole lot. She just goes, she's under the county behavioral health system for a long, long time.
Sure.
And so she just reports for her injection, and she has learned to work the system. She's brilliant, and she's a wonderful woman, very intelligent. But her reality is not quite back, and I'm hoping we can get counseling so that we can help her succeed and be content. And
so often, Trish, family members often need to go with a person with bipolar to the psychiatrist, if she would allow that, because they don't often...
We have talked about it.
Okay, because they don't often report accurately.
She wants to have counseling.
Okay.
Right. She wants to have counseling with me.
And if she's in the county system, then I would imagine they have referrals for you for therapists where you could go and do some therapy with her and report what you're seeing. Is that an avenue you've checked out yet?
Not recently, no, because she just puts up so many defenses, and I wanted your opinion about just being, just going for a Christian counselor, because she gets ultra spiritual in part of her mania. And she's just off balance in all areas right now. And it might be that the Haldol will still be taking effect, but I don't know. I just need help about doing something.
Trish, does she live with you?
No, we're an hour apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she lives by herself. Does she have a job? Does she have a family? She married?
She can't work. She has, they call each other husband or wife. They've been together about 7 years.
Okay. So she's not married, but she's in a relationship and she lives with someone.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And this is the first time in her life where she hasn't been in a group home or under management by the county. She's been in an apartment for 6 years, and all of her neighbors, when she spun out, they were scared. They were really concerned. So they went though to the manager and said, "We love her. We want her well. We know she's sick. Don't kick her out." And so that little community she's in is very supportive for the first time in her life.
Good. So your biggest concern is who's the best counselor for her, or should you go with her?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, finding a Christian counselor is good. I mean, obviously we recommend that because if you can find somebody who shares your worldview, they're more likely going to be more aligned in the way that they direct you. But I think it's important to find somebody who is familiar and has experience working with somebody who has bipolar disorder. I think that's probably the number one thing to find. As Jill was saying, usually this is what happens with people who have bipolar disorders. They go off their medications, and then that's when they end up in trouble with a depressive or a manic episode. I'm wondering for you, though, what's the most difficult thing for you? Is it just to watch this happen and then feel helpless?
Yes. We have practiced tough love, quote unquote, for many years now because we're not always going to be around. And our town burned it down 5 years ago, Paradise, California.
Oh, yeah.
And God directed us here to this area, which is only an hour away, but we have found it a lot easier to protect ourselves from her behavior where we are, but yet be supportive. And her boyfriend is very supportive. He's very supportive, and he is really trying to help her through this. So
that's a lot. And with this, there's only so much that you can do because you can't do the work for her. And so I'm wondering what help you have if you are part of a support group.
I have a very, very healthy, God-based church and pastor and friends, Bible study, women's group. My husband also. We are just feeling like we have support. Like when this first came on when she was 15, we were shunned way back, then. This is, 19 I don't know. My head won't.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a while ago,
Basically,
and,
yes.
and we know a lot
And
more
as
now than we
things
did back then.
improved, Yes.
But there's also
So
support.
we have support.
Yeah, but there's also support groups for family members of people who have bipolar disorder, and that might be, like I said, when we're talking about somebody who knows and specializes, if you can get in a support group that is directed toward your specific situation with others who are sharing in the same experiences, that can be even more helpful, just to help you know when to take a step back and maybe when to actually jump in, because you're probably feeling like you're wanting to jump in a lot, I'm sure.
Well, and it sounds
Yes,
like,
I
Trish, you're doing a lot of the right things. I mean, part of it is she's had an episode, and so it's the restabilization and getting her to accept that she's very dysregulated at this time and needs to get back into a stable place. And it sounds like you've got her boyfriend on your side, the community, they all see it. And so that's evidence there that she was in a healthy place and now she's not. And so it's, the medical interventions and then the counseling to talk through it. And I think the fact that you guys have set boundaries with her, of course, because when they're in a manic phase, they don't see how destructive they are. And so you do have to protect yourself some.
Yeah.
But when they're ready and willing to accept treatment, then it's like, okay, I'm coming alongside of you and I will go to therapy with you. Let's talk about things that are upsetting to each of us. But she's got to be more stabilized in order to do that.
Yes, and of course right now she doesn't see that. But,
Yeah.
and, she's much better than she was, but she's still, she called me at 5:30 this morning, and I was already up. It was fine, but she was just in tears. She was just feeling so grievous about our relationship, but yet she doesn't own what she's just done. She doesn't. She doesn't own it yet.
Yes. Well, Trish, I'm hearing some actual good progression. That as she has gone back into her bipolar episodes, and that become very dangerous and very disruptive. And you mentioned a personality disorder that's in the midst of that. And Trish, the hard thing about being a loved one in these situations is that we are the people that take the brunt. It's usually the safest person or the safest people in their life that they act out the most against.
Right,
But that,
I understand.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt for you. And I'm just encouraged, as Jill was saying, that you have already established boundaries. You've had this tough love approach that protects yourself, but still does it in love.
But you're still there,
Yes,
being
supporting,
loving,
yes,
and supportive,
and doing what's best for her. So I just want to encourage you. We talk about the serenity prayer a lot around here, especially in the life recovery. It's like we do what we can, but not what we can't. We change what we can. But we let go of the things that we can't change. And oftentimes, there is that wisdom. We need the wisdom of God to know the difference between those two things. And Trish, I just want to encourage you along in that. You know the pathway here. That there is, number one, she has a medical condition. And this is really important for people to hear. This is a medical condition that needs medical intervention.
Well, and it's lifelong, so it's not it will ever go away, even though we hope it can get better and improve. But it's one of those...
It goes into remission.
Yes, exactly. It's one of those things that you just kind of have to keep on getting your own support as well as supporting her. And then you and, your husband and her boyfriend need to be in communication with each other likely regularly.
And then I was going to say the second one too is, and Marc had mentioned this, and I just want to reemphasize it, is specialized counseling. Because a person that really, really understands bipolar and some of the delusions that can come with that, or some of the swings that could come with that. As I say, the struggle with bipolar is a person's always on the way to somewhere, and sometimes they pass through the middle and it looks great. And hopefully we get good medication that lowers the ceiling and raises the floor. And then the next thing is, my great co-hosts were mentioning, is support for you guys. So,
yes, and I'm going to search that out in the county I'm in up here now.
Yes.
I'm sure
Good.
I haven't done that since we were living down there near her.
So check
And
so
you
check
said
out.
something key to me,
Oh, okay, go ahead.
that I just pray that she will accept this as a medical condition.
yes. Yeah.
She's very
Well, Trish,
self-
let me jump in because the music's playing, so we're going to head to a break here pretty soon here. But I think, Jill, you're about to mention
the National Alliance of Mentally Ill, NAMI,
Yeah,
is an
NAMI.
organization that offers support groups for
families.
family members of bipolar.
And we're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back. It really helps understand, hey, how do we protect ourselves from the chaos around us? So, Trish, thank you so much for calling in. We cheer you and your daughter on. For everyone else, we're going to be here in studio a couple hours. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000.
I came kicking and screaming. The last 24 years have been filled with pain. I was violently molested and raped from the age of 6 to 13. It has changed everything in my life. This weekend for me has been life-altering. I have realized that God does love me, that this is my story, and that's okay for the first time in a long time.
This is Steve Arterburn, and this is the story of a new life. She came kicking and screaming and now has a changed life. You can be part of offering hope to others as you step out in faith by donating to New Life Ministry.
To make your tax-deductible gift, visit newlife.com and click Donate. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM to 28950. That's NLM to 28950.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 1st through the 3rd. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I've had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. So glad that you're with us today. It's myself, Dr. Jill Hubbard, Marc Cameron. Again, we have this program. We have another one coming after this. We'd love to talk to you. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Also, coming up this weekend is Every Man's Battle in Washington, D.C. I can't encourage men enough that if you're struggling in an area of sexual brokenness, it could be pornography, it could be sexual acting out, but the truth of this struggle is that without deep change and intervention, it doesn't get better. It only gets worse. So that's going to be up this weekend in Washington, D.C. If you want to hear more about that, you want to hear ongoing conversations led by JJ about different aspects of sexual integrity, go to wherever you get podcasts and subscribe to Every Man's Battle. The Every Man's Battle podcast drops episodes on Mondays, so that would be today, and you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. Again, Every Man's Battle podcast and the intensive this weekend in Washington, D.C. Check that out. We're going to go back to the phones. We're going to go to Richard in Phoenix, Arizona, listening on Sirius XM. Richard, talk to us. What's going on today?
Hi. First of all, I want to say thank you for your show. You guys are the best. I listen to you as much as I can on the radio. I tried to help my brother. He's 56, and he's had a hard time keeping a job, and so where he stays, it's hard for him, where he's staying. So, but anyway, so especially if he was emotionally abused as a child, and but anyway, I just we've been trying to help him, but he doesn't seek out, help. And I'm afraid, he's just going to get kicked out and, have authorities just kick him out of the house or something. So I don't know if there's any way that you recommend reaching out to him.
Richard, does he struggle with any addictive issues?
I think, I don't know, in high school, if he did do drugs or anything like that. He may have had bad friends, but it was like we were close, knowing all about him, know, but I know he wasn't, like, sometimes in the right crowd, and I believe maybe he has had, so...
But is he struggling with any of that today?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just, there's a lot of, like, he'll mention things about his past and talks verbally to himself and, of people he's associated with in high school. And I tell him, don't focus on that. Focus on, it's like what God says. And so...
But he has if I can jump in, he has a deep struggle with really making progress in his life and stabilizing his life, including his work, and wondering how to help him. So
why does he have a hard time keeping a job?
I think it's probably because he'll talk to himself, or he'll say something maybe political or religious, or I don't, maybe something like that. And it's just, and then I really don't know. That's just, if I go take him lunch or something, these things happen, and, I have to kind of let him and remind him, maybe just the social skills, or
Richard? Richard, is he hearing voices?
I think he does.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to help him.
Yeah, it hurts you very much.
Is he your younger brother, Richard?
He is.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you're feeling that responsibility for him.
Well, I know he's gone through things in life, and I feel for him, and I just, I don't know how to help him other than it's like sometimes it's like I don't want him just kicked out in the street.
Yeah, for sure.
Who emotionally abused him? You mentioned that was important to what's happening.
My dad.
And I wonder if you feel guilty here, Richard, that you couldn't protect him in those moments.
What's that question?
I said, I wonder if you feel guilty that you couldn't protect him in those moments when you guys were younger, when your dad was emotionally abusing him.
Exactly. It's like, it's like, I know for me, I've moved on thanks to God, by His grace and all that. It's just, I know for him, it's probably just with a mix of other people.
Yeah, and Richard, let me jump in. Yeah. Is there anyone else in your family in your family history that has struggled with mental illness, like maybe higher end, like hearing voices?
No, just
him. Okay, yeah, that's really helpful to know, Richard. And I am so sorry that you have experienced this, that your brother is struggling with finding his own freedom, finding his own health, and knowing that your heart is hurting for him. And, Marc, I think you really hit on something very important there, is how the abuse impacted Richard. And Richard, we want to dive a little bit more into that, give you some guidance and direction. We're going to head to a break here, but we're going to come back right after that, and we're going to make some progress in your life. If you're listening to the show and would like to call in, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back right after this.
I'm addicted to oxycodone. I've been on oxycodone almost 3 years.
Addiction affects millions of people every year.
I've been on it for a long time, and I need to get off.
New Life can connect you with some of the finest Christian inpatient treatment programs in the country that work with people from all backgrounds and beliefs.
First, it was for back pain, and I was on it for a long time. And then I currently just had shoulder surgery.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction to illegal or prescription drugs, alcohol, or dealing with an eating disorder, it's time to seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers all around the country.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We are so glad that you're with us. We are talking with Richard and just really struggling because his brother is really struggling. So, Mark, where does Richard go from here?
Yeah. So, Richard, I mean, we don't have your brother on the phone. We have you on the phone, and I know you're wanting to help him. But yeah, I think you have the survivor's guilt going on. You mentioned that you've moved on. Your life has probably been successful. You've been productive, and you're seeing that your brother's struggling here. But we don't just move on past these things. Our childhood, these are significant things, emotional abuse, and that impacts us. And I think that has impacted you, Richard, and making you feel very responsible.
And helpless, right? Yeah. As a child, you were helpless in helping your brother against your father. And now you're saying, what do I do? What do I do? I think that same helplessness is coming up for you, Richard.
Yeah, and you're a very sensitive person here too, Richard. So, it's difficult when we have to watch somebody, especially a loved one, struggle on the sidelines, and especially when you can see what's going to happen. It's almost like watching a car crash and you're on the
slow
side,
motion.
right? And you can't do it, and then repeating over and over and over again, and that's just really difficult. It's really challenging. But I think, Richard, for you to learn learning how to process what has happened for you, I think is probably a good starting point.
And as you do that, Richard, if you were to go see someone and get some help and talk about your childhood, I think you would be better equipped to then talk to your brother and maybe even invite him into the therapy session. And the two of you talk about your childhood together, and to be able to share with him how helpless you felt and how much you wanted to help him then and how much you want to help him now. I think that could be really healing.
I think that's a great idea. Richard, why don't you get into your own counseling? Because this will be really helpful for you. You'll lead your brother by example.
And you'll do what you wanted to do when you were a kid.
And you can talk to him about what's happening to you. And I love that idea, Jill, of inviting him into the counseling.
And that's the best way to help, too, because you're processing the trauma rather than trying to fix all the things that are happening in the moment. Because you're going to keep trying to do that until you get to the root of what's going on.
So, Richard, we're going to send you a copy of Healing as a Choice. And I'd love for you to stay on the line because we'd love to connect you with a counselor in your area to help you process your trauma and then eventually help your brother as well. It's one of the best ways we can help other people is helping ourselves. And with that, we're going to go right back to the phone. We're going to go to Kevin in Allentown, Pennsylvania, listening on the internet. Kevin, tell us what's going on today.
Yeah, hi. My question is, how do I handle a breakup with the girl I thought I was going to marry?
All right, what happened?
Well, she dumped me 6 weeks ago.
So sorry, man.
Yeah, thank you. For both of us, this is our first serious adult relationship. We're both very in love with God, with Jesus, and we both want to be long-term missionaries. The issue is that her biological mom is not Christian, and she went to stay with her biological mom in Korea for the summer, where they're originally from. And when she told her mom about our relationship, at first, her mom took it well, was like, oh, he seems like a nice guy. And then eventually she started to make some meaner comments about how my girlfriend just doesn't know what she wants. She's inexperienced. She needs to date around more. And then eventually she started to, this is going to get dark. She started to say that, she started to tell her daughter that she doesn't want to live any longer.
Oh, wow.
And that if her daughter would break up with me, that would get her to stop saying that.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
Wow. That sounds quite manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you, Kevin, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
26, yeah. Man, I really feel for you, because heartbreak it's the kind of pain that feels like it can't get better for a long time. And especially you're saying this is your first serious adult relationship, and I know for you, you're kind of looking for these external factors to explain it. But if you heard my opening, I was talking about when my wife and I met, and we only really knew each other for 4 months.
I did hear that.
Yeah, but there's this deep, all of us come out of childhood with some wounds, because there's no perfect parents out there, right? And so even if we get good parenting, there's wounding that we have, and we have to learn how to process how that impacts us. So even though her mom is it sounds like being incredibly manipulative, she is drawn into that, and that's an area of insecurity that she's going to need to learn to overcome. And so I do in general think it is a good idea to meet a few people before you decide to get married, because you're still just discovering who you are here. But I do understand that the pain is so great. And so my recommendation for you is just to focus on the things that you can change. Chris was talking about the serenity prayer earlier on, looking at what is so painful here for you, and how difficult it is to let go, and maybe seeing this is the time to jump into therapy and to start to process through what's happening.
Well, and you're seeing, Kevin, you're seeing the patterns in her. So mom lives in a different country, right? But mom has a strong influence, and that can draw daughter back in. And so even though her, your previous girlfriend lives across the world, she still hasn't separated from mom enough to say, Mom, I'm making my own decision here. I love you. I want you to be a part of it. But this is someone that I care about, and I'm going to move forward in exploring the relationship. So there's a lot there where she still needs to grow up and mature. And so I think giving her the space, stepping back and being her friend, and maybe even saying, can we check in after a while? I'm going to go do my own work. I'm really sad about our breakup. Maybe you might want to do your own work. And let's check in with each other, because I care about you, even from a distance.
Yeah, and that's great advice. And sometimes we think marriage is going to be the magic solution, right? We'll get married and everything will get better. And that's not true. No, oftentimes things exacerbate.
I'm so aware that marriage is not meant to make us happy. It can, but it's meant to make us holy.
Exactly.
Well, and think about who your mother-in-law will be.
Well, and Jill, to that point,
I mean, no offense, you marry a family.
Well, that's it. That's it. Is that when we start with the realization that the person that we fall in love with is the one we want to be with, But oftentimes you don't consider that when we marry, to your point, Jill, we're marrying the other person's family.
Right.
We're marrying into
right.
friendships. We're marrying into a much bigger system of people that need high consideration of what this means.
Well, and Kevin, I don't know if you're also Korean.
I'm actually Vietnamese.
Oh, okay. So you are Asian, so you understand culturally Asian, but there's differences.
It's familiar, like that kind of, like
high
almost
control,
like toxic collectivism.
Yep.
Is very familiar territory for me.
So
my parents are refugees from Vietnam.
Okay.
They are Christian too.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean.
And Koreans have a strong idea of, status and what things look like, and the parents, they have a path laid out for their kids. So that's a hard one.
Yeah, with a strong honor culture, especially when it comes to parents. So Kevin, there is a heartbreak here that's going on for you, and that just has to be respected, and that your heart needs tended to, that there is a grief process that you're experiencing and that you're in, and that is really profound. And so I'd encourage you to get into a group of other guys where you can share more about what's going on and what's going on in your life, and get some relational mentors. Find those guys, in the rooms of recovery, when they choose a sponsor, they say, find someone whose recovery you admire and ask them to sponsor you. And I think that that's great advice for a lot of different areas of our lives.
Or mentor you.
That's
if it's not a recovery group.
Yeah, find some guy in your life who does relationships, who has a great marriage, and ask him to mentor you. And in that way, the grief and the loss and the heartbreak, it gets mended through healthy relationships.
Well, and part of the grieving is talking about it.
Yes.
Talking about the loss, talking about the hopes and dreams that are now dashed.
Yeah.
And processing it out loud with another human.
And I just want to encourage you, Kevin, it's going to get better. Even though it feels like it hurts so much, it will get better.
Yes.
And you'll learn and you can grow from this.
I'm thinking about a book, Is This the One?
Okay.
Because written by Steve Arterburn, it asks some really good questions, and it promotes often taking a break in relationship.
Absolutely. That's great. So we're going to send you a copy of that. Is This the One? And Kevin, thank you so much for calling in. And I know that calls like Kevin's is not just for Kevin. It's for so many of us out there that experience breakups and loss of relationship, and just all the different ways in which we lose important things in our life. We can't do what we do without you contributing to what we do. So if you have not considered giving to New Life, I want you to highly consider it. Go to online, our newlife.com, and push the donate button and contribute so we can keep doing what we do. We'll be right back.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. And guys, I'm still buzzing with the excitement and the work that people did over this last weekend at the Emotional Freedom Workshop. I just love seeing people get the help and healing that they need. And one of the ways in which they do that is this program. One of our listeners wrote, New Life Live has literally changed my life. Coming from an extremely chaotic childhood, my mind was messed up. Although saved, I have had many issues that caused me to have challenges as a wife, as a mother, even as a servant of God. But through New Life Live, I've been introduced to biblical principles that have helped me grow and become useful in the kingdom. I truly thank God for New Life Live. And we thank God for people like this that engage, that this is helpful for. And we are incredibly thankful for the people who financially partner with us that make all of this possible. We'd love for you to consider becoming a New Life Club New Life member. Again, you can go online, check out all that information, and partner with us so we can partner with you and keep doing what we do. With that, we're going to keep on going back to the calls. We're going to go to Jake in Bloomington, Indiana, listening on WPEO. Jake, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Talk to us. What's going on?
I'm going through some struggles with my children. I'm divorced, and there's supposed to be 50-50 custody. So right now we're kind of just trying to go through things. They want to spend more time with their mom. They have more friends at their mom's house, things like that. So I'm just trying to find out what's best. The best interest of the children. That's what everyone keeps talking about.
How old are your kids, Jake?
I have a son. He's 11, and my daughter's 13.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough there, too, because, Mark, you talked a lot about, what was it, neurodumping?
Neural pruning.
Yes, neural pruning.
And I was last week,
Yeah.
I think I did an opening on that, and I was actually going to talk about that. So right around this age, kids go through something called neural pruning, where their brains start to get rid of information they think that they don't need, and to make room for new information. And it's really an identity phase that they're going through, where they're learning how am I going to be separate from mom and dad, and who am I in this world? And so so they're wanting to spend time over at mom's house, I'm hearing you say, Jake, because their friends are over there, right? And that's who they're connected with here. And I can see how that would feel like hurtful. A rejection, like a rejection to you. And so, what's in the best interest of kids is to have two fully engaged parents. And it's this delicate balance between, giving our kids the ability to make choices, but not giving them total control.
They need to win sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But not every time.
Yeah. How far away are they? Do you and their mom live from each other?
It's literally like a mile or two apart.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, that's like nothing.
That's
you
easy.
Could ride that on a bike in 10 minutes. Is it something that they could do? Could they do that? Could they ride over there to see their friends on a bike?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think it's more than that then?
Yeah, because if you could facilitate their life so that they have one life with two homes instead of two different areas, then if they could still be involved in their activities, still have friends over, go see friends, that seems like it would help. But what else do you think is the difference?
I know there is issues with I've made them maybe more uncomfortable at home with me being frustrated and them seeing the frustration.
Yeah.
So I think that's really just made a major difference. I feel like I'm losing control, so I'm probably overreacting and being more controlling, letting them know, I'm the parent, you need to respect to what I have to do. And I do need to respect them and their needs as children. But they're not quite understanding, for me as an adult, why I do the things I need to do. So I know that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the main part of it, Jake. I mean, they may be using the excuse of, oh, our friends are closer, and it's probably because they either don't have the language or they don't know how to say to you, Dad, we are afraid of you, or we don't like your anger. And so what I would start with here is just by having an honest conversation with them, and just saying something along the lines of, hey, I love you guys. And it is painful that you want to spend more time at Mom's house than here, and I want to change that for you. What can I do? And give them permission here. I'm going to give you permission to tell me exactly what you think, exactly what you're thinking and feeling, and acknowledge for them. I know that I've been angry, and that has pushed you guys away, and I'm looking to get better in that. And so just tell me about it, and then just give them the floor. And when they speak, it can be really hard because we want to defend,
correct,
or we want to correct,
based on our idea of the truth.
Or we want to teach. And so what I'm going to say is, just in that, when you give them that opportunity to do that, if you do any of those three things, it's going to be even harder to get them to be honest with you the second time around. So just hear what they say, thank them for it, and just say this simply, I'm going to think about that. Thank you so much for sharing with me. I love you guys, and I want us to work on this together. And then then take space to think about what how you can follow up with them.
So I have been doing those things, and I've already made the mistakes. So now I'm in the phase where I'm trying to get them, I guess, regain their trust.
Yeah.
And the correcting thing, I felt that the discipline is my responsibility. So when they want to do something and I know it's wrong, I correct it. I don't want to allow them to do something that I know is wrong, especially something that I don't feel is moral. And I know that they need to make their own mistakes and learn things their own ways. But I want to avoid...
Yeah, Jake, so one of the things we've always talked about for years here is that you connect before you correct. So you want to make sure that you're connecting with their hearts and who they are, and like Marc is saying, giving them some freedom to tell you what it's like to be on the receiving end of you. But I think also to talk about the difficulty, the situation that they're in, where they have two homes and there's two different sets of rules, that mom and dad do things differently. God gave us two parents for a reason, and moms and dads have different purposes and goals in interacting with children. And so to maybe at some point share that with them, and that so some of the things you emphasize, you realize that maybe their mom doesn't, and she might be more lax in some areas, but God's given you a different job than their mom. Or mom can be more nurturing. At times you're supposed to be the one that helps them know right and wrong in the world. And so yet you want to do it in a way that they can receive that.
Well, and I think what could be helpful for you, Jake, is to learn to ask good questions. So as the parent, you ultimately will have the final say on a lot of things, but ask them good questions on what makes you think that that's a good idea, and here's what I'm thinking about that. I think the book How We Love Our Kids could be really helpful for you if you haven't read that.
Yes, I was thinking the exact same thing. We're going to send you a copy of that, Jake, How We Love Our Kids, because again, two things that my co-host mentioned that I want to just reemphasize. Your children will need you, and in this phase of life, they'll want to be with their friends more than they want to be with their parents. That's just kind of a fact right now. And then secondly, as you said, Jill, connect before you correct. That is true for all of us. Jake, thank you so much for calling in. If you are online waiting to talk to us, we're going to be in studio one more program, one more hour. So hold on. We'd love to get your calls in the next show. If you would like to give us a call, again, we're going to be here. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Thank you so much for being with us today, and I just wish you all very, very well.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.